Huddersfield 1-0 Newcastle, Premier League Live, Aaron Mooy strike maintains perfect Terriers start. They'd sold out of home shirts hours before kick-off and could barely accommodate the tide of fans who flowed into the freshly painted prefabricated hut they're calling the Huddersfield Town Megastore. That's what the anticipation looks and feels like when you've been waiting for the top flight since 1972. 2 wins out of 2 for Huddersfield, who join Manchester United and West Brom in maintaining a 100% start. Newcastle meanwhile remain pointless but are in good, bad company along with Brighton, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace and West Ham. Attention now turns to arguably the biggest game of the weekend as Tottenham take on Chelsea at Wembley. Join me on this link for all the action. That's all from me on the clash at the John Smith's Stadium though, where you can catch the post-match reaction on the homepage. Cheerio. 90+2 minutes, final change to kill some time for the hosts as Tom Ince departs in favor of Michael Heffel. 90+1 minute, there will be 4 added on minutes at the John Smith's Stadium, as Lascelles is booked following an aerial challenge with Mooney. 89 minutes, Steve Mooney is booked, rather harshly, following a tangle with Ciaran Clark. It's still all looking rather desperate from the Toon though as Joelu's long-range effort is saved easily by Lascelles. 86 minutes, the sun is breaking out in Yorkshire and Huddersfield have the ball exactly where they want it, near a Newcastle corner flag. As it stands, the Premier League new boys are heading for second in the table and level on points with leaders Manchester United. 2 games only, maybe. But you'd rather have 6 points than 0, and the latter is exactly what Newcastle will be left with right now. 15-10 83 minutes, not long now for Huddersfield to hold on and maintain their perfect Premier League start. There still hasn't really been a Newcastle response to falling behind. The Toon are seeing more of the ball but the home side don't look under too much pressure. 15-7 Newcastle United substitution. 80 minutes. As Newcastle make their final change by replacing Perez for Jacob Murphy, making his debut, the stadium attendance is announced as 24,128, a record for the ground. 15-5 78 minutes, into the book goes Palmer following a clumsy lunge on Jamal Lascelles where the substitute failed to get anywhere near the ball. 15-2 Newcastle United substitution. 76 minutes. A second change for Newcastle as Hayden departs to be replaced by Mo Diame. 73 minutes, Huddersfield have started to drop slightly deeper in the last few minutes and their attacks are being built with more caution now. Philip Billing plays in a dangerous low cross from the left but there are no takers as the ball rolls away for a goal kick. 14:58 Huddersfield Town substitution. 72 minutes, a second change now for the hosts as Cassie Palmer, on loan from Chelsea, comes on to replace Elias Kachunga. 14:56 Huddersfield Town substitution. 69 minutes, first change for Huddersfield as Colin Quainer replaces Rajiv Van Lapara for the hosts. 14:55 68 minutes, that's better from Joelu, who plays a 1-2 on the edge of the box before his low stab shot is turned wide. From the corner ball falls kindly for Always per 6 yards out, but the forward can only steer his volley well over the bar. Must do better. 14:52 66 minutes, Philip Billing is next into the referee's notebook after a cynical challenge to bring down Christian Atsu. 64 minutes, not the impact Newcastle fans were hoping from Joelu. The forward charges down a Jonas Lascelles clearance, only to connect with the keeper's shin. It didn't look intentional but was enough to earn the new signing from Stoke a booking. 14:49 61 minutes, on the hour and Newcastle actually launched an attack, from small acorns and all that. The ball is worked out to Javi Manquillo on the right whose back post cross is just too far for Ritchie to take full advantage of. That's about as good as it has been for the Toon in this second period. 14:45 58 minutes, not too much of a response from the Newcastle players. In fact, Huddersfield looked more likely to grab a second as the home fans continued to bounce off the walls inside the stadium following that Mooy strike. 54 minutes, Hayden's robust challenges have been adding up and the midfielder becomes the first Toon player booked after a foul on Philip Billing. Newcastle United substitution. 52 minutes, Rafa Benitez immediately makes a change and hands Joelu his debut as he replaces Dwight Gale. 14:36 goal. Huddersfield Town 1-0 Newcastle United 50 minutes. It's the first top-flight goal in this part of the world for 45 years and it was worth waiting for. Aaron Mooy plays a 1-2 on the edge of the box before curling a brilliant effort across goal into the top corner. 47 minutes. Huddersfield hit a cross just short of once every 3 minutes in the first half and it's how they begin the second, but once again the Newcastle centre-backs head clear. Player watch, Aaron Mooy, Huddersfield Town. Aaron Mooy has been everywhere for Huddersfield Town in the midfield and his heat map below proves that. The Australian has arguably been the best player on the pitch but the Terriers will hope that can translate into goals in the second period. No goals at the John Smith's Stadium. But I've seen worse games in my time. The quality hasn't been great but there's enough in the match to make it enjoyable with both teams not holding back in their challenges at the very least. It's almost a little bit old-school Premier League, and I'm all in favor of that. 45 plus 1 minute, and they nearly score from one. An attempted through ball destined for the unmarked Mooney is crucially slid behind by Mimba to concede a corner, one which the Toons scramble away for another corner. 14-15 44 minutes, the half is set to end in a much more even manner than the way it started, with Huddersfield settling into a counter-attack. 14-13 41 minutes, there's been a few strong challenges in this game, it's not the championship anymore, lads. And Lee Pawson has now seen one too many as Richie is booked for an overzealous sliding challenge on Mooy, who has impressed in the Huddersfield midfield. 40 minutes, Lossell comes a long way out his box to clear and while he isn't quite Manuel Neuer convincing he gets the job done by finding a teammate with a pass. Can't really ask for much more. 14-9 37 minutes, Newcastle to their credit have come back into game in the last 10 minutes, and at least have taken the pressure of a defence which has struggled especially on the flanks. Still only that Richie chance to speak of for the Toon though. 14-8 34 minutes, more penalty appeal from the Newcastle fans as Gale goes down under a Christopher Schindler challenge. But Craig Pawson is not interested because he has seen that in fact it was a superbly executed tackle from the Huddersfield defender. 14-2 31 minutes, fair play all round. Hayden is a little reckless with the challenge on Mooy, but the Australian doesn't overreact and his dissent is no more than just appealing for a free kick. Hayden could have been booked but there was enough intent to play the ball and it seems to keep him out of Pawson's notebook. 30 minutes. But Richie slips on delivery and his ball into the box is easily cleared by the away defence. 14-0 29 minutes, now it's Newcastle's turn to win a free kick out wide as Richie stands over. 13-59 26 minutes, half-hearted penalty appeals from Newcastle fans as Atsu's back post header hits Chris Lowe on the back of the arm but that would have been harsh on the Huddersfield defender. 23 minutes, Newcastle are getting worse. Ciaran Clark is robbed of the ball by Mooney whose cut back into the box results in panic before he is flagged offside. Newcastle survive again but they are looking fairly poor so far. Huddersfield are finding plenty of joy in getting space to cross from the flanks, even if they haven't produced much so far. 21 minutes, and they should score from the corner. Elliott comes to punch clear but is barely in the same postcode as Mooney leaps highest in front of the Toon stopper before failing to make clean contact with the ball to head into an empty net. 13-50 19 minutes, that Newcastle chance is an anomaly rather than a revival as the hosts, backed by a vocal support, continue to dominate as they win their first corner. 13-48 16 minutes, brilliant save from Jonas Lossell. Newcastle against the run of play nearly take the lead as Perez squares short for Matt Ritchie, with the midfielder's attempt to place the ball into the bottom corner across goal from the edge of the box resulting in the Huddersfield Town keeper leaping low to his left to tip the ball away. 15 minutes, dreadful from Christian Atsu. A terrible pass or downright awful control, I really don't know what he was trying to do, sees him give the ball straight to Tom Ince on the edge of the box, but his first-time effort is straight at Elliott. 13-44 13 minutes, the Newcastle centre-backs are earning their paycheck so far. Tommy Smith's cross looks destined for Mooney but Jamal Lascelles dives across to head clear while battling the striker. The home fans appeal for a penalty in hope more than expectation, but referee Craig Pawson of course waves play on. 13:42 12 minutes, first set-piece chance for the hosts as they win a free kick out wide, but Mooy's delivery is headed clear. Huddersfield recycled the attack with a couple of crosses, but the Toon are holding firm. Just 13:39 9 minutes, Newcastle are playing in their black change kit today, but it's they who are chasing shadows in these early stages. The Terriers are attacking with purpose and putting Rafa Benitez's team under a fair bit of pressure. 6 minutes, how's your luck, Newcastle? Jonjo Shelvey was sent off last week for a stamp, but the boot is rather on the other foot now as Steve Mooney leaves his foot in on Isaac Hayden. The referee though has failed to see it, and the Terriers striker is rather fortunate to get away with that. 13:35 4 minutes, a small delay in play after Chancel Mbemba takes a high boot to the face, unpunished, but the Toon defender will be okay to continue. First effort from the hosts as Mikel Merino poorly clears to Aaron Mooy, whose low long-range strike is well collected by Rob Elliott. 13:32 2 minutes, half chance already for Newcastle as Dwight Gale's through ball into the box is collected by Ias Perez, but a slide challenge denies the forward a clear shot and goal. 13:31 kick-off, Huddersfield get us underway. Remember to get the most out of our live coverage by following all the action with Sportsmill's excellent Match Zone. It features the latest lineups, formations, match stats and a handy player comparison tool. In addition, there are heat zones for every player as well as detailed maps of all the goals as they go in. Click on the above link for more. 13:27 outcome. The players at the John Smith Stadium. Rather surprisingly, there are still a few empty seats, but that's because some supporters are struggling to get into the ground. You can expect this to be a full house once they finally take their seats. Huddersfield boss David Wagner ready for Newcastle test. We didn't do something extraordinary. We focused on ourselves and then we looked at Newcastle United, and spaces where we can cause problems. It was a good week, Wagner told Sky Sports. We know what we have to know about Newcastle. We played them twice last season. Hopefully we will be successful. Huddersfield make one change at the John Smith Stadium. Huddersfield make just one alteration from their 3-0 win at Crystal Palace, with Cassie Palmer making way for Rajiv Van Lapara. Newcastle United hand a full Premier League debut to Mikel Merino and recall Chancel Mbemba and Jamal Lascelles as Paul Dummett, Florian Lejeune and Jonjo Shelvey make way. Here are the results from the Premier League this weekend so far. Only Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion have maintained a 100% winning start, but Huddersfield could make it a crowd with victory over the Toon. At 4 p.m. today, Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea clash at Wembley, while Manchester City host Everton on Monday Night Football. It's the battle of the new boys to start Sunday's Premier League action, but it was a contrasting weekend for two of the three promoted clubs in action this afternoon. While Huddersfield Town marked their Premier League bow with a 3-0 win at Crystal Palace, Newcastle United slumped to a home defeat by Tottenham Hotspur. But the Toon won 3-1 at the Terriers as recently as March, so how will the teams fare today? Good afternoon all and welcome to Sportsmill's live coverage of all the action. Huddersfield welcome Newcastle to John Smith Stadium in the early Premier League kick-off. The Terriers got off to a flyer last weekend against Crystal Palace with a 3-0 win and will want to back it up in front of their home fans. Newcastle on the other hand will be chasing their first points of the campaign after suffering a 2-0 defeat by Tottenham on opening day. Follow all the action with live updates from Sportsmill's Dan Ripley.